What's up, SNA fans? Yeah, sorry about that. Internet connection difficulties, but back here with another video. Let's continue with Naomi heading into the ring. This was said, thank you, my man, to Becky Lynch. And then I was like, just don't make your jealous twin brother husband that's jealous of his twin brother of getting the main event glory, like be jealous of the man. Otherwise, Becky Lynch will hit him with a man. The same if he messes with Becky Lynch, then we know that a certain visionary will give him a stomp that he'll never forget. If nobody touches his wife, Baron Corbin learned that the hard way. But anyway, but that was like 5 years ago, and that's another story for another day. But yeah, continue to talk about with these women. When Naomi's like, this is where Naomi was like, I've shown that I can be successful in any women's division, whether if it's inside of WWE or outside of WWE. And I successfully did it twice. I was like, yeah, that's true. You had two separate occasions. You held the SmackDown Women's Champion on two separate occasions, and also became TNA Impact Women's Champion, like back in the summer of 2023 until a month ago in 2024 in January, and since then you left TNA and rejoined WWE. But this was just like, and then this is where she was like, and I'm going to build myself back up to get back to that point. And I know that I can do it like more than I ever did in my last run. And this is where Tiffany Stratton came. This is where Becky was like, oh, they just keep coming, aren't they? This is where she started cracking it, started hanging off the right corner rope. Tiffany, this is where she started screeching with, not screeching, more like shrieking with her loud. Fans had a mixed reaction of the former NXT Women's Champion, and then this is where Naomi said, "You better correct yourself. It's glow time." And then this is where Tiffany started like, "Oh, like Naomi, like girl, like while you're out here trying to make another name for yourself, like whatever that happened, wherever, how long did that last? But I've been out here making a full name for myself for both NXT and the NXT and the main roster, and you left the empty space." Which I was like, I'm not sure if you ever replaced her because you didn't got to SmackDown until she came back to the Blue Brand with Nick Aldis signing her with that contract. But yeah, back to the segment. But yeah, what else she said? Like I feel in that spot, and like we're out there trying to make another name for yourself. You left the empty space, and this dude like, and that's me as and before she can finish by saying her last name, this is where we heard Bianca Belair's theme song. This is where Bianca Belair was like, "Girl, like you saying that you're gonna be women's be the number two, like baby girl, like I am the EST after all, and I haven't been the tippy top for a very long time, like before you were even thought of in here in WWE." And Becky Lynch, like, she has a point. Like this is where Bianca Belair can continue saying, like, and in the Elimination Chamber, you're gonna find out, like you never beat me, like you never do it like me, or even be better than me. And Tiffany Stratton's like, "Oh, you want to bet?" And there's big up, but there's one thing I have to one of you later have done is that win the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Like that's all I'll give to the five of you ladies of qualifying. And this is where it was like, continues like, and this year at WrestleMania, I'm going to continue my undefeated streak when it comes to singles championship gold. So respectfully, if I have to, I'll pin you, Becky, and you, Raquel, you Liv, you Naomi, and certainly you, Tiffany. Definitely, which fans were laughing and cracking up, which I'll say, I think I can see her pinning her, but I just cannot see her pinning Becky. Like, there's had to be some kind of a screwy finish that will keep Bianca Belair occupied. Like, but I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't fully doubt that, and I'm not even doubting. I'm just predicting that it's gonna be Becky. But I just, I just don't know. Like, maybe the plans is Bianca, then it could be her. But I just think that maybe this could be another reason why, why Jade Cargill is not going to be there, even if they didn't care about her wins and loss record. Like, they would probably keep her out of this match for Jade Cargill to come in there and probably interfere out of Bianca Belair. Like, when it's just her and Becky left, and then she's gonna hit her with that big boot, pump boot, and then Jade and Bianca Belair and hit her with the manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3, heading to WrestleMania. With Bianca Belair trying to seek for revenge, which I believe she will do, onto Jade Cargill, and maybe continue her undefeated streak. Like, which is technically accurate because she never lost the singles match at WrestleMania. Maybe she got eliminated at the Women's Battle Royal match in 2018, but that technically kind of doesn't count. But she beat the likes of Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, back wins at the Showcase of the Immortals. But this is where Bianca Belair is like, you cannot spell WrestleMania. And the reason why you cannot have me without wrestling the same wrestle as barely know anything of here. And this is where Liv Morgan's like, yeah, you really don't understand, Tiffany. And Tiffany's like, what do I understand? You don't understand the fist that I'm about to strike on your face. And this is where she did so. This is where they got into a fight. And this is where they started going back and forth, hitting fists at each other. This is where both Naomi and Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, and Raquel was like if they're doing it, we should do it too. And this is where Becky went right to Bianca, but Bianca going to stay while Naomi go for Raquel. This is where they start throwing fists at each other. It's like, we're just going to do this because we're going to be doing this Saturday. Every woman for herself. If we want to face Rhea Ripley. This is where the Nia Jax came out of nowhere and started crushing Bianca Belair, and sandwiching both Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch right to the upper left corner, looking like a runaway train coming out of nowhere. Into another dimension. This is where she did the same with Raquel Rodriguez and her cousin-in-law, Naomi, by doing it into the bottom right corner. This is where she hit the Samoan drop right on to Naomi afterwards. This is where right at Tiffany Stratton and Liv Morgan that was still fighting and right onto the front part of Bianca Belair. This is where she ran this division. This is where she hits a leg drop right on the Raquel Rodriguez back first, right into with her coming from the right corner side. When she tried coming under the ropes, this is where Becky was trying to hit a big right hand, but this is where she got caught by Nia Jax. She hit her with a big headbutt, clearing out the ring and hit a running hip attack on her cousin-in-law, Naomi, right into the upper left. This is where she has a leg drop right onto the back and head of Raquel Rodriguez's tag partner, Liv Morgan. For some reason, she just not like their guts, or even their shoulder and their back, I should say, considering she leg dropped it. But this is where she hits a leg drop right on the chest of Becky Lynch afterwards. This is where Nia Jax said, I'm the only woman standing. And that's what's going to be this Saturday when I defeat Rhea Ripley as Women's World Champion, which I'm not sure it will be Nia Jax. It just don't seem like it. She's the number one contender of Rhea Ripley's championship. I just don't think that she's going to win. I think it's going to be all Rhea Ripley's because for one reason, they're going to be in their home country, and two, they're not going to disappoint the fans there and all the friends and family that she's going to have in attendance that cheering her on. So that's to play it safe. It's going to be, I think they're going to, somehow Rhea Ripley's going to win. That's best way I could describe. But let me know in the comments below if you think it's going to be Nia or it's going to be Rhea. Which, let me know what team you're on. You're on Team Rhea or going to be in Team Nia. But I'm not saying Nia Jax will never ever will be women's champion. I just think it's not that time yet, at least not yet. And she is improving, and she's looking more of a champion than she ever was. Than her last run as women's champion back 6 years ago or 5.5 years ago, which it will be 5 years. This coming April, but we're just gonna have to wait and see when's her next reign as singles gold. But But yeah, let me know in the comments down below and what your thoughts on it. But yeah, let's move on to the next slide. We got Gunther sending a very like a very gentle warning to the main event Uso. He's going to take it easy tonight, which he probably saw my post on Instagram, which I thank him, by the way, for answering my request, because against against the against the main event Uso, only just him threatening to take away your championship away from you. But this is where Gunther was like, it was just basically telling him like he's going to be showing them why they talk about him being the most greatest talked about Intercontinental Champion, heavyweight champion of all time in WWE. And tonight, like when that bell rings, Jay, like I make you understand, like you just not belong in the main event scene. Like Jay, this is where we got a backstage segment with Shinsuke Nakamura with him saying like, if you think you're you're an underdog, I'll make sure you stay that way. But by defeating you again, which he sent a message to Sami Zayn, because yeah, like I said earlier, it's been announced that Zayn and Nakamura will be fighting one-on-one in a singles match. But this is where Shinsuke Nakamura was like, I got by dragging you to the very what he said, he said like, I'm a like to the very bottom. That's what he's like, gonna drag the very like. Then you can bask in everyone's sympathy, like but I will show them that they're contender. Like what he said, like he said that your contender, like, is a pretender. Like you want more Shinsuke. Like you, like anytime, anywhere, and what's that? And anytime, anywhere, any place, or whatever. Said. This is where we got column wash, like, which hopefully I pronounced that correctly, sir. Like, but yeah, hopefully you had a fun time on Monday Night Raw. And yeah, and this is where he started clapping. He's like, yeah, but he thought, I believe he probably was liking Monday Night Raw, like, and he's probably a WWE fan himself, like, where else why he was there, because like whoever is a wrestling fan, you're going to be having a splendid time, no matter who's going to be in that ring, no matter which company you're watching, whether if it's WWE as wrestling in the other company, but the others, like, they never step foot in a World Wrestling Entertainment ring ever. But anyway, let's move on to the match before the main event, like, which it was a very well delivered match, even though it was like just mid card worthy or not really main event worthy. But it don't have to be like main event like a main event level. It could be any kind of match as long as it has some kind of entertainment, have some kind of story, have some kind of have something to look up to, which they had plenty of those things with Chad Gable trying to be a single star in the singles championship, which he showed that to Ivar tonight when he was fighting him into this match right for the main event. And I'll give it the fifth match of the night. Even though all these five matches were, even though I'm just giving them best match status, but like just giving it, but at the same time, it's for a good cause. Like the reason why I'm ranking them is good matches, even though I should like some of y'all should say like this should be the third match of the night, but at the same time, the Cody versus Drew match, even though the match finish I don't agree with, like it still was a pretty impressive performance by both men. It's just that I just don't agree with the interference. Like, because like first of all, it made no sense in general, and two, like why would you do that? Like do that then and give Cody Rhodes his first pinfall loss of 2024 in this manner, which it should be saved whenever he loses the championship belt. But anyway, this is where we got Chad Gable then hit a roll right on the Ivar when he Irish whip right on the middle rope when he went right on the mid rope, like when he dodged Chad Gable's strike. But he dropped, even though it was not much of a very brutal landing, but it still was very harsh. But this is where Chad Gable went right to the upper right corner turnbuckles, hit a diving cross clothesline right onto Ivar. This is where he runs back in the ring. This is where he was like, "Oh, thank you, my people." Fans were very entertained by the leader of Alpha Academy. This is where he's like, "Okay, like now I'm gonna give him more of a lesson." This is where he's trying to go for a crossbody right over Ivar, over the barricade near the timekeeper's area. But this is where he flips him right over in the ring. This is where Chad Gable hits the double hands to the throat. This is where we had Chad Gable then try to go for a dive again, but this is where he got tripped over by Ivar. This is where he tried to go for some kind of a buckle power bomb right through the top, the spine first, right onto the top part of the bottom right corner barricade. This is where Ivar's like, I smell fear and some raw, burning, fleshy meat. My favorite. Like as soon as I finish him defeating him, I'm gonna have him for dinner tonight. Like, too bad Eric's not here to join me, but he will be back soon. This is where he brings him back in the ring after having a little made that little comment. This is where he started continuing to do his tormenting punishment onto what's his name, onto Chad Gable, until he tried to go for a power bomb, which he should have never done that because he already done that move. Because this is where Chad Gable flips out of it. This is where you go for a sunset roll up, but even though it didn't give him a win, but it was so close at 2 point, I'd say 6 or 7. Like, even though that's not too close, but still, like, close enough that could have been a 3 if he hadn't kicked out while he did. This is where Chad Gable then went for an ankle lock right onto Ivar. This is where Ivar started crawling like, I let go. This is where he pushes Chad Gable, which he landed on the outside, but in a safe manner by landing on his feet. This is where Ivar to try to go for a clothesline as soon as he got back in the ring. This is where he ran right through the right corner side. This is where he got a guaranteed crossbody over the top rope, even though the last time, like, it was at a barricade. And somebody was like, that couldn't be a guarantee because it wasn't over the top rope, Super Ninja Austin. Well, I still count it as a guarantee because it doesn't matter if it's ringside or even inside the ring. It's still going to be counted as a move that he or her is trying to attempt in this wrestling match. And this is where then he tried to grab on the Ivar, throw him back in the ring, but he grabs him by the neck. This is where he's like, "Oh no, you don't." This is where he pushes him back first, right onto the apron, onto the left corner side of the ringside area. This is where he tried to go for basement crossbody right onto Chad Gable, but luckily moved out of the way. He made it face first, which made the screen made the Raw Titantron screen and on the apron started staticking into malfunction because he hit it very hard, even though it still was standing, but it still was making it messed up and malfunction because every time if you hit it, it's going to show that staticking. So it's staticking, like if you hit the screen. This is where the Chad Gable tried to go for a German suplex, but his back gave out because Ivar's a very big dude that weighs way over 300 pounds, even over Otis's weight. This is where we saw Ivar and Irish whip Chad Gable back in the ring. This is where he went right onto the upper left corner. This is where Chad Gable then got back up. This is where Ivar waited for him to hit a sit-down senton, which it even frightened Michael Cole. He's like, "Oh my God, like, did he just land it on him through his neck? Like, how did Ivar did that? Like, he just did a huge leg. But I'm surprised Chad Gable kicked out of this when Ivar went for a pin. Referee counted 1, referee counted 2, and he kicked out at 2.999. Ivar's eyes were huge. You could see right through his face paint that he was not expecting Chad Gable to kick out. Well, at least in kayfabe, of course. But this is where we got Ivar right off the top rope. This is where he tried to go for a moonsault. Like, this is where This is where he tried to win like he did a couple weeks ago against Akira Tozawa. This is where Chad Gable didn't roll at Germany, which I was thinking, like, is he German descent? I know his female member, Maxine Dupree, is, but I don't know about Chad Gable. Like, it depends, like, on what culture he comes from. But at the same time, I'm just being funny. Like, and you don't have to be German just to hit the German suplex. There's plenty of cultures that hit that move and using it all around the wrestling market. Like, no matter what promotion they're wrestling for, like they use it in a daily or even weekly base. Which Chad Gable had some tough times doing it at first, trying to pick him up into a wheelbarrow-like position, and until he finally flips him up and slams him right to the canvas. Where Chad Gable's like, "Finally, I did it!" Like, this is where he started taking off his suspenders, like if he was Kurt Angle. I was thinking, like, how come? Like, I agree with Chad. I mean, with the great one and the rest of my fellow YouTubers. Shout out to you guys. But like, how come he wasn't Kurt Angle's? How come he wasn't Kurt Angle's illegitimate son? He would have made it work in a way because he's more of like a Olympic, like more like an Olympic, like an Olympian than Jason Jordan was. No offense to that guy, which I believe he wouldn't take no offense because like it didn't work in his favor anyways. Like, and Chad Gable would have been more of his favor, and he probably wouldn't. Which probably would have lasted until he got a match with Kurt Angle, even though he did, but it wasn't at WrestleMania. Even though that should have been a match at WrestleMania 35, in my opinion, of course. Like unlike that match with Baron Corbin, even though they were trying to push him as a monster heel, but it just didn't work. Like, it didn't naturally work. Like, if it wasn't going to deliver, go for a moonsault right on the Ivar, like stomach to stomach. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but Ivar kicks out at 2.999. Chad Gable kind of figured that worked. Then he started pushing, I'll say PlayStation, which is X and R2. I mean, yeah, R2, and then Xbox A and RT, I believe. Yeah, hitting his finishing maneuver buttons and start going for a render. I would not swear this is where Chad Gable like, okay, like, I'll be doing this until you do. Like, in the meantime, like, which amazingly, like, he eventually made him tap out when he started twisting it, nearly like snapping it around and started making it spin around. Like, but I was like, no, I gotta have my ankle because I promised to go on a double date with my brother and sister-in-law, Eric and Valhalla, with my new latest beautiful girlfriend. And this is where he started tapping now. Like, which Chad Gable's like, yes, I showed that I can slay anybody if I put my mind into it. And even a private weakling Viking that claims to be the handsomest Viking that's on God's green earth. Like, I prove that I'm ready to be singles champion, which I believe he is. Like, by seeing this match and seeing like who walked out as Intercontinental Champion, of course. And this shows that Chad Gable's more than ready. Like, if you're not gonna pick Sheamus to be your contender for Gunther's title, this is the guy to pick. Like, he should be the man that should dethrone Chad Gable. And maybe we could see somebody who could possibly be the one that could dethrone Gable, and that could be none other than the Celtic Warrior. But until then, like, even though I want to see him stay as a babyface, but they're probably saying, like, what's the reason of keeping him as a babyface if there's no story to tell him is in the light side, if he should go back to the dark side. And he can start some kind of an alliance with Drew McIntyre on Monday Night Raw, with him being the Intercontinental Champion while Drew McIntyre's the World Heavyweight Champion. And we can also have, like, some two other guys that used to team with Drew and Sheamus. Unfortunately, won't be Rich Holland and Butch, or now known as Pete Dunne. They could go after for the World Tag Team Championship if they introduce them, like if they and making them the WWE and World Tag Team, and they go after either of those titles, whether it's the Raw or SmackDown tag titles. Sheamus and whoever Sheamus and Drew McIntyre have as their side minions to go after the tag team champions, there's the European, the European villains, like with Drew McIntyre from Scotland and Sheamus from Ireland, and whatever country, like whatever it may be, like France or Italy, Spain, or even England, perhaps, like they should be teaming with the Celtic the Celtic and the Scottish Warrior into this quartet kind of faction, like if they win this championship. But that's story for another day. But what's your thoughts on Chad Gable? Do you think he's going to be the one that's going to dethrone Gunther and finish his story of beating this WWE championship? But yeah, let's move on to the next slide. This is where they start advertising on what time exactly the Elimination Chamber will be on, and from where I'm at, they're going to be playing it way too early in the morning. Like, let's just say, like, I live in America. I can't tell you this. It's going to come on way too early in the morning, which I'm not gonna watch it live. I'm gonna watch it like without rushing, and I can just tell you about it like right after early in the afternoon, like when I usually do these wrestling news videos. Instead of doing it this Saturday, doing the wrestling news video, I'm gonna postpone which this is the